Good evening and welcome once again to Big Budget Business. Apologies for that technical glitch there. But as we were saying, our guest in studio today is the head of everyday banking, lending and cash at Stanbic Bank Botswana, Wabo Moswate. Mr. Moswate, it's a pleasure having you on Big Budget Business.
No, thank you very much. It's quite a privilege to be here today as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We usually start with a backstory. Tell us about yourself, Moswate, and how you got to where you are at this point.
Okay. So, like you've mentioned, I'm the head of everyday banking at Stanbic Bank Botswana. So what we do is that I look after a team, or I lead a team of experts that look after various solutions such as card and payments, such as your property finance, your vehicle and asset finance, and your deposit and investment solutions. So I started my career slightly over 12 years ago within Stanbic as a graduate trainee. And within those years, I've managed to rise through the different ranks and had a privilege of holding multiple roles. This included roles such as your head of product, your head of secured lending, and now your head of everyday banking. I didn't want to touch on the many other roles that I've had within the bank. Yeah. So that's my journey so far.
Wonderful. Yeah. Perhaps for our younger complement of viewers, if you would perhaps touch on maybe what you studied or what someone who aspires to be in your position would want to study.
Okay. So academically, I've done quite a number of courses. So I've started with my degree in business information from the University of Botswana. Okay. From there, I've done multiple leadership courses through the University of Oxford. I've done the executive leadership program. I've done the strategic innovation program. Wow. Recently, I've finished my executive master's in business administration through the Quantic School of Business and Technology.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, thank you very much.
I take it we all see the value of continued professional development and, of course, having the proper academic background. Thank you for that rather colorful introduction. I want us to get into this issue of financial wellness. As a professional in the field, what is your take on this issue? What is financial wellness? What is its importance?
Yeah, so I think financial wellness is a topic that is very dear to us. We take it very seriously. So by definition, financial wellness is a state of being where one is able to meet both their current and future financial obligations. So why is it important? It's important because of a number of things. The first one is your mental health. We know that when you have financial problems, you're unable to function properly. People who have financial stress, as we know, they're depressed, most of them. Some of them have a lot of anxiety. Some are not performing well at work because they've got this consistent strain. Some of them even resort to doing extreme things like, committing fraud and theft. Wow. It's a result of not being financially well. I think the other important thing when you talk about financial wellness, it's what it can do for you. I'll just give you an example. As we go through life, we have certain financial emergencies that crop up.
Absolutely.
We have unforeseen things like funerals. We've got where your car breaks down. You've got medical emergencies that need you to pop something from your pocket. And we've got other things, for example, like job losses.
Yes.
So if you have a buffer, you are able to maneuver through some of those financial circumstances. The other key thing is that people who are financially healthy or who are financially well is that they've got proper financial planning and they've got financial goals. So when your financial goals, it's very good in that you map a path for your future. You know what you want to get out of life financially. You create those goals. You are able to save. You are able to use some of your savings to either risk through a business. Some people use the savings to invest in property. Some put in secure instruments like your savings and investment accounts. So it gives you that leeway and that leverage.
Wonderful. Yeah. So a few things that I caught over there was that it's a state of being where we can meet both our current and our future financial obligations. And then also we should have sort of a safety net, you did say like a buffer, that can help in times of emergency. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking financial wellness and a whole lot more with the head of everyday banking, lending and cash at Stanbic Bank Botswana, Wabo Moswate. Please note that we are live. If you would like to call in and ask our guest some questions, please feel free to use the link that we've put in the comments section. If you prefer to type, then please, that's fine. Keep your comments and questions coming. We're talking financial wellness and a whole lot more. Engage with us, and you could get yourself an awesome hamper courtesy of Stanbic Bank. So you were touching on the issue of financial wellness, and then you did also mention that it ties into mental health also. It's important for us to ensure that we're financially well, for us to also be in a good state of mind. And then some of the pitfalls of not being financially well, you mentioned fraud and stuff that could put people in prison, basically. All right, now let's talk about this aspect of living within one's means. What exactly does this mean? Living within your means? How can we identify that, yes, we are living within our means? And if not, what are some of the remedies to this keeping up with the Joneses aspect?
Yeah. Okay, so there is living within your means, which is essentially, you're spending less than you actually make.
Okay.
So at the end of the month, you've got a bit of money that you can put away. Then there's living beyond your means, which is exactly you're spending less than what you actually make. Mm-hmm. So how can you pick that? I'll spend more time on the living beyond your means, because I think that's more relevant to the viewer. Yeah. So how can you pick that you are living beyond your means? It's a number of things. We've seen it. We know certain people that before the next paycheck, you've already run out of money. So that means that your expenditure is very rapid. You're spending more than you actually make. So you find that people actually go broke 5 days, 10 days before their next paycheck. Other things that you can use to pick that you're living beyond your means is that you're utilizing debt, to supplement your income. For example, you've depleted your financial resources. Now utilize either overdraft or credit card just to supplement the income that you had. Other things can be, simple things, where, you've bought assets that you can't maintain. You're driving a vehicle that it's very difficult for you to maintain that vehicle. The vehicle is always parked because some part is damaged and you don't have the capital to actually fix it. For other people, it might be where you touched on keeping up with the Joneses, where your expenditure is driven by impressing people, is driven by fitting in within a certain crowd. Mm-hmm. You're not utilizing money for things that are actually generating value in your life. So how can you remedy, this situation? So I think the first step to either financial well-being or living within your means is the mind, it's the mindset. So the first thing you need to look at, is to agree that you have a problem. Like your expenditure is out of line.
Accepted.
Once you've accepted that you have a problem, the second stage would be, educate yourself financially. Get some financial literacy, learn how to properly use money. Then the third piece is financial goals. If you don't have financial goals, you don't have a target that you are aiming at, you're actually... you don't have a focus. Mm-hmm. So the other things would just be small tactics that keep you in line with achieving your financial goals. It can be simple things such as setting your budget, tracking your expenses, cutting down things within your expenditure that you don't need. So those things, they just keep you on track. But the key thing, ensuring that you understand you have a problem, educate yourself on financial literacy, and having goals that you aspire to achieve financially.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was a rather comprehensive answer. And you've said a lot definitely in there. You remind me of a good book which says that where there is no vision, the people perish. So it's good for us to have those goals that keep us on track towards something. Right, wonderful. Just to get into some of the engagement that we have here, we have Pinky Douglas, who says here, it gives one peace of mind, Wabo Moswate. So for that comment of yours, Pinky Douglas, congratulations. You've won yourself an awesome Stanbic Bank hamper. Please give your details to the Facebook page, Black, BLAC, in caps, and then you can get your gift over there. So we are speaking financial wellness. Please keep your comments and questions coming. Remember, if you'd like to call in, you can also use the link that is in the comments section. So we've touched on financial wellness. We've also touched on this issue of keeping up with the Joneses or living within one's means. All right, so let's get into good debt versus bad debt. A lot of people tend to use those terms very loosely, but we need to understand the distinction.
Yeah. So when you make a distinction between good debt and bad debt, I'll start with good debt. Good debt is any debt that improves your overall financial situation. That is, it can increase your revenue. If you took that debt, it can increase your revenue. Secondly, it can increase your net worth.
Oh, yes.
Thirdly, it can increase your valuableness in the marketplace.
Sorry to cut you short there. We actually have a caller on the line. That's what I'm told. So, hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. Please let us know who you are, where you're calling from, and what your comment or question is.
Okay, my name is Norma. I'm calling from Tlokweng, and I would like to ask Wabo a very pertinent question. We are coming out of COVID, I hope, and we've seen a lot of people lose their jobs, a lot of people lose their income. My question to Wabo is, to get back to that financially well place, what do you suggest a person can do to find their way back into a financially good space?
Thank you so much for that question there, Norma. What can we say to people who perhaps have found themselves in difficult situations, difficult circumstances? How can they try to recover?
Okay. So I think just to look at that, so it can be various aspects. It can be people who used to be employed and they've lost their jobs.
Yeah.
It can be people whose salaries were reduced, because we know during the pandemic, certain people's salaries were reduced because businesses couldn't retrench, so they reduced people's salaries. So I think the first thing one can do, if you lost your job and you had debt, you can approach your bank to see if you can restructure that debt, because all of us, we are aware that, we've been through a very difficult time. If most of your loans were listed, you can renegotiate with the bank so that they restart them if you have sort of an employment. But I think what the pandemic has taught us is that nothing in life is certain. Wow. So you find that most of the people before the pandemic, they were very comfortable in that. They thought that their jobs will last forever. So you find that people are not saving. So when one loses their job, their life as a whole goes in turmoil. They lose the house they live in, they lose the car. So I think what is necessitated now is that financial planning I was talking about.
Yes.
If you've gotten back on your feet, you need to have a plan for your life. You find that most people, we work and we have a strategy in our jobs. We've got a plan for the year, but we don't have a strategy for our own lives. So if you have a financial strategy for your own life, you know what you need to save, you know how you can restructure that debt, that's a good start. But saving is the pinnacle of everything. If you save, you have that leeway either to use some of your savings as a buffer for the difficult financial times I've talked about. You can use your savings, a portion of it, to risk it, whether it's in a business or through instruments that can help you generate more income. But you need a plan. If there's no plan, it's going to be very difficult for most people to get out of this situation.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Moswate. I feel so bad that I don't have a pen and paper to be taking notes right now, because this is very informative. And of course, our viewers here are also speaking. We have Atlang Senaje, who says, free education, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for that, and we should commend Stanbic Bank for taking such initiatives. So Atlang, for your comment there, congratulations, you've won yourself an awesome Stanbic Bank hamper. And let me thank our caller Norma again for her question. I'm told we have just another caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there? All right. Please excuse the communication lag. All right. So I think we've lost our caller there. Nonetheless, you were speaking to some very important and pertinent points, but I did disturb you when you were talking about good debt and bad debt. Sorry about that, but maybe just to cover that.
Oh, okay. No, thanks for that. So I was talking about good debt. So good debt is any debt that helps you increase your revenue or income. It's any debt that helps increase your net worth. It's any debt that helps increase your valuableness in the marketplace. And I'll just elaborate on that. So it can be things like if you invest in real estate, if the real estate generates what we call positive cash flows. What I mean by that is that what you're paying the bank as an installment versus your rentals. If your rentals are greater than your loan installments, then you have positive cash flow. That's good debt because you've got money that you can utilize for other things. Good debt can be where you take money. Business is a risk. You can either risk it in your business. If that money that you have taken helps your business increase revenue, increase profitability and cash flows, then that's good debt. Another form of good debt can be if you invest in yourself. If you invest in your education, like I said, you become more valuable in the marketplace. You increase your long-term earning potential. So that's an example of good debt. Bad debt is where you take a loan and you put it in depreciating assets.
Wonderful.
It can be things like a car. If you buy a car, the car will give you a good feeling, but financially, it destroys value. People go to certain extents of taking loans to go on vacation. Some people buy clothes. Some people spend it on other things that I don't want to talk about. But, anything that destroys financial value, I consider it, a bad debt.
Wow, thank you very much. Very comprehensive there. Good debt, basically, where we're speaking about positive cash flow, where what we have borrowed, in essence, whatever we are making on what we have borrowed should be more than what we are spending to service that debt. And then in terms of bad debt, it's really where more so investing in depreciating assets that will sort of eat at the value of whatever it is that we've invested in. All right. No, thank you so much for that. We've definitely got a lot of comments and questions coming in here, but let me speak to Thabo Matapi, who says insightful. So I think a lot of people are learning a lot from what we've got to offer today. Thank you, Thabo Matapi, for your comment there. You've also earned yourself an awesome Stanbic Bank hamper. Yeah. So let's speak to the buzzword of the day lately. It's crowdfunding, because a lot of people can't seem to maybe get their financing or whatever from banks. What is this crowdfunding aspect and why the buzz?
Yeah. So crowdfunding, as the word suggests, crowd.
Yes.
You're leveraging. It's a method of raising capital.
Okay.
That leverages off the collective effort. Or it can either be your friends, it can either be family members, it can be your potential customers, it can be individual investors.
Yes.
So you are pulling funds from the crowd. So from a Botswana perspective, crowdfunding can be traced in our traditional Motshelo, where people save together. Once they've saved together, they either lend money out for interest or they use the money to acquire assets. Now, when you look at the Western world and Europe, crowdfunding is more structured and it's backed by technological platforms. I'll just give you an example. We've got all sorts of crowdfunding websites. We've got what you call peer-to-peer lending, or debt-based crowdfunding, where you find that multiple individuals like me and you, we've got excess cash that we want to put away. We put it in this platform. The peer-to-peer lender takes our deposits. They lend it to someone who wants sort of a loan, and those people pay us back the capital plus interest. So that's peer-to-peer lending or debt-based. You've got your donation-based crowdfunding websites or platforms where I can go there and put up a campaign to say I want to go and study or I'm struggling financially. Then people just donate to me out of the goodness of their heart. They expect nothing in return. Then you've got equity-based crowdfunders, as the name suggests, equity. So with that, you have a small medium enterprise. They've got a great business idea. They can go and pitch that business idea on the platform. Then individuals who are interested will fund the business in exchange for equity. That's
yes,
a stake in the business, yeah. Then the last one would be your reward-based crowdfunding platforms. You can look them up, Kickstarter and all of those. There, I'm an individual. I've got a prototype. There's a product I want to make, whether it's a cup, whether it's anything. I put that product up. People who want to fund that, they fund it, but they expect something in return.
Absolutely.
That when the product is finished, they get the service or the product.
Right.
So from a structure point of view, where we are in Botswana, we are not yet that structured, but from a European and Western, there are various technological platforms, that helps people source funds from crowds.
Oh, wonderful. No, thank you very much for that. You mentioned peer-to-peer, debt-based, right? You mentioned donation, crowdfunding, equity-based. Oh, wonderful. And then you did mention the last one.
Which is a reward-based.
Reward-based.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been discussing financial wellness and a whole lot more with the head of everyday banking, lending and cash at Stanbic Bank, Botswana, Re Moswate. I think in closing, Re Moswate, let me just ask, how can we access this wide range of services that your department offers and basically the bank in general?
Okay, so how to access Stanbic? We normally advise our clients to access us through our customer care center. So the number is 398-7801. So when you've accessed that contact center, then you can ask for the different departments based on what you're looking for. For example, in my area, you can ask for merchant services. Okay. If you want point of sale devices or e-commerce, you can ask for card issuing. If you're looking for information on debit and credit cards, you can ask for home loans. If you want us to finance your home, you can ask for vehicle and asset finance. If you want us to buy you a vehicle, if you want us to buy you machinery, and you can ask for digital lending if you want to inquire more about our instant loans. So that's the contact center that you need to go through if you want to access the various departments within the bank.
All right. Can I ask that you repeat the number once again?
398-7801.
All right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. We were speaking to the head of everyday banking, lending and cash at Stanbic Bank, Botswana, Re Wabo Moswate. Re Moswate, let me thank you so much for having been on Big Budget Business.
No, thank you very much. The privilege is mine.
Thank you so much. In closing today, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a 2-minute tip per se, but rather a word of appreciation. We would like to thank you, our loyal viewers, for helping us to surpass 50 episodes of Big Budget Business. It's been a wonderful journey and thank you so much. We do look forward to your continued support. We would be nothing without you. So from me, Big Budget, and the team that makes it happen, Black Network, Moana Pictures, and of course, Stanbic Bank Botswana. It's good night and God bless. And never forget that you were born for so much more.